So I'm a little bit late to the party. Yo, this light means it's party time. I'm a little bit late to the party. Apparently, Alexi Navalny is dead. Okay. Alexi Navalny dead, y'all. That's what they're saying. Alexi Navalny has always been an interesting character to me because he seemed to have been set up just to be like a martyr. Okay. See, like Alexi Navalny in a lot of ways, I don't even like Trump. It's sort of like the Russian Donald Trump. I mean, put it like this. When they started giving, when the feds started coming after Trump and shit, they tried to lock him up. I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden either. I literally told my pops, I said, what's different between this and Alexi Navalny? You locking up somebody because they are a political rival to you. And I seen my good friend over here, Legend of Jeff, getting aggravated with someone who commented on his post because they said that they felt he was CIA. I don't think Alexei Navalny was CIA in the way that everyone would think, and so I understand why Jeff was reacting to this person the way he was. Because if he was CIA, the CIA wanted him to die over there. Because that's the whole point. He's not like dead rappers get better promotion. He's more valuable as someone that they could martyr. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of CIA assets like that. Bin Laden was a CIA asset like that in the sense that he was more valuable to fight the Russians in Afghanistan during the 80s than just be like, hey, peace, we out this bitch. As soon as they left, he was more valuable as someone that it's almost like how we created or installed dictators. It's the same type of shit with Bin Laden, where it was like we sort of tried to, I feel like looking back on it, create a terrorist. Because I put it like this to everybody, this is how I explain it. I was just explaining to my boy E the other day. If the CIA came to you in the 80s and used you as a tactician to fight one enemy, then said peace and left once that enemy was gone. You thought they was really your boys, but they not. And so you get mad at the CIA and still irrational enough to say, I don't have a beef with the American people, which they don't want the American people to know till way after the fact. What do you think you're gonna resort to when you get angry? As someone who's been a very violent person for a long time, violence is a learned behavior. And in a lot of ways, it could be an addiction. It gets real easy when you react violently to something and you're used to react violently to something for that to be your first reaction. So, I see with Bin Laden, if we had him doing all this terrorist shit against the Russians, and then we do him dirty, so now he's not mad at the Russians, he's mad at us now. How you think he gonna react? He gonna react the only way he knows how, the way we taught him to, the way we encouraged him to. He gonna react violently. It's like, I don't condone what Bin Laden did or nothing like that, but I see why he did it. Like, not even in terms of like his letter to America or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I see why his first reaction to solving any type of problem was violence. What a lot of people don't realize is Bin Laden, I think, chose things like the World Trade Center, all that, because he wanted to go after the landmarks. He understood people were gonna die in the process, but I think that was not a goal. That was just like a side effect that he knew was gonna happen. He wanted to take out the landmark. He was mad, and I think this is why it took so long for the letter to America to come out, because they knew if that letter came out, that invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan is not happening. Because they're going to say, well, he has no beef with us, the American people. He specifically says he just don't like your ass, the government. Again, I'm not a Bin Laden sympathizer. Don't take that as that. I think them kids on TikTok is retarded for that. He was not your friend. Now, Alexi Navalny is kind of similar, where he's not a terrorist leader, nor was Osama when he worked for us. He was a resistance leader. There's a fine line. I say this saying a lot. There's a fine line between a revolutionary and a terrorist, and it mainly depends on what side of history you're on. So that's where I'm drawing the comparison. Navalny was not a terrorist. That's where the comparison ends at. But Navalny was a what's the word? He was an opposition leader, man. It's just like, because Afghanistan doesn't have a government and didn't have a government at that time, opposition wasn't the same. It wasn't looked at, there weren't political parties. You know what I'm saying? There was the Mujahideen and there was the Soviets. And the Mujahideen turned into the Taliban, turned into Al-Qaeda, all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same as a political system or a country that has politics. It was a literal anarchy, and it still is. So, Alexi Navalny, you know, R.I.P., you know, he's a real American hero. I think if he was, and there's a high chance, because it's like, resistance leaders die every day, bro. The U.S. don't give a shit every day, bro. They gave a shit about this. And here's the thing. They knew if it was that important, you get so many other people back from Russia. You don't think you could have got him back? No. The point was, if he dies over there, you could martyr him. You could say, oh, look what they did to Alexei Navalny, so we have to go to war in Russia now because of him. Oh, no, yes. Not our kids, your kids have to go. Yeah, oh, the draft. So, I take these things with a grain of salt. I really don't give a shit. I'm not saying I don't give a shit that he died. I'm saying I don't give a shit for the way that the government tries to use his death. The government do not give a shit that Alexei Navalny died. The only reason that they care at all is they can use it. You know? And so I understand why Jeff was getting a little bit aggravated with whoever said that in his comments. I understand why they were saying, you know, and having the family members I have and the adoptive father I have, I understand the shit a little bit more realistically than a lot of people who don't have family members that are involved in things like that. Because most people wouldn't understand what the first thing Jeff said is, why would they, you know what I'm saying, just let him die over there? Really, they kind of want that because it gives you a reason to be like, oh, they're so terrible, they're so horrible, we have to go kill them now because of this guy who doesn't even live over here, y'all. That's why. And I'm talking about this now to tell y'all not to buy into it. Am I aggravated about it? Absolutely. Am I mad about it? Absolutely. But I don't think we should give a fuck when you do the same thing to someone who's running against our president here. I don't even fucking like Trump. But how are we going to get all up in arms over them doing this to someone else over there when we have someone here who hasn't died from it yet and we're not getting up in arms about that? You see my thing? You see my issue? Because here's the thing. If this prison shit don't work with Trump, that's where I worry they gonna take it next. And I'll tell you why. He's slowly getting the urban black vote. especially amongst the black male demographic. He's slowly getting it because I'll tell you what it did for me, and I've seen it ever since. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think, before this, he already had shit like Kodak Black coming out co-signing him. So he was already starting to get the black vote before this. But this makes it look like, this is how it looked to me, and I don't want to speak for the black community as a whole, but I would imagine it's the same for a lot of other people in the urban community like myself, where we're looking at it as, oh, he's just like one of us. He could get it too. He's still like us. The police arrest his ass too. It makes him look more like this is just, it's me or you know what I'm saying, than Joe Biden. How much illegal shit has Joe Biden's done? How much cocaine did they find in the White House under Joe Biden's? Why hasn't he been arrested for shit that's a literal fucking felony? It don't matter if it was Hunter's or his. That's his residence. What would happen if the police found coke at your mom's residence that was yours and you weren't there? You think they're gonna lock your mom up? Yeah. So don't get all up in arms about this Alexi Navalny bullshit when there's shit of a similar caliber going on over here. You feel what I'm saying? We gotta deal with what's going on in our own backyard before we can deal with anything to do with, you know, anything over there. Like, it's just common sense. And I'm upset about it too. And I don't even like Trump either. And I'm upset about Alexi Navalny too. But I see the play. And I see that if he was a CIA asset, the whole reason he was to be used as a pawn for the purpose of martyring him, having him killed over there, so that hopefully they feel like it'll rile enough people up to cause war or something. And we can't let them have that. We can't feed into that. So I just had to speak on this because this is kind of in my wheelhouse and it's less ignorant content that I do. So I had to, you know what I'm saying? RIP Alexi Navalny, but I know he wouldn't want us to fall for some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I know he'd probably be saying, if he had the chance, he probably would have said something about, how are y'all going, I don't want to speak for him, so I'm not going to say that, but I imagine he'd have something to say about the fact that they locked up Trump and did the same shit they did before they killed Alexi Navalny to Trump, and they want us to get mad about Alexi Navalny. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't even like Trump. I'm just speaking on the facts. It wouldn't matter if the rules was reversed and Trump was locking up political adversaries. I would feel the same way, maybe even twice as much so. You see what I'm saying? That's a very slippery slope when you go down that shit. So, I just had to speak on this shit. Don't fall for the play. I'm gonna be back with some more shit in a little bit, man. I'm out this bitch. Road to 60K.